Hi, Cities. How are you doing? Welcome to Sim. Thank you so much for the support. Hope you all are doing great. So I came across this video from an Asian woman. I really do not care where she is from, but I say she is Asian. Some people, I don't know how they make some stories up, but you definitely will know that they always have something to speak when it comes to Black people. And these Asians are the people that are always deaf and dumb. Each time there are political crises that requires everybody to speak up, that is when you see them disappear. Why are they hiding? I call them conservatives because presently, if somebody would tell me that I voted for Trump because I needed him to expose some certain things, and I am like, what is he exposing? I mean, you mean him exposing himself? Because someone with how many felonies, or you mean him exposing the Epstein file because he has so much skeleton in his wardrobe. So she has this to say. MLK Jr. civil rights activist was all created by the FBI. How? Sometimes there are some things you see. You are like, I am like, how do I find her, bring her out and sit her down? Let's discuss this. But then I found out that it's not everybody that needs that you give out your strength. But you know what? Let's get into this.
So I'm getting a lot of heat for a statement that I made that I believe the FBI manufactured Martin Luther King Jr. And people in the comment section are calling me out, claiming that I am spreading false information and that I don't know how to read or comprehend what I just read, and even going as far as calling me effing stupid. But I wanted to give you my breakdown as to why I came to that conclusion. And if this is your first time seeing me, I will be creating a series of videos going through the unclassified documents for anybody that doesn't want to go through the hundreds and hundreds of pages. So let me just read the statement that I read that people are calling me stupid for. It says in there that Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. was the target of an intensive campaign by the FBI to neutralize him as an effective civil rights leader. Now, I understand what neutralize means. And people were calling me out stating that neutralize means they were trying to stop him. The people that are making this statement, I thought you guys were supposed to be awake. Because we all know that the government were all just pawns in their chess game. And what that means is, just because one portion of the FBI is aware of what's going on, that doesn't mean other higher ranking officers are not strategically planning something else that people are not aware of. Because we see that happen all the time in the government. So let me show you why I came to that conclusion. And you'll come to realize the complexity of our society is we all live in the Truman Show. And even though we may believe that we're fully awake, there's still more complexity that we are unfolding. So in the document that I showed, in the 113 pages, you're going to find things like this, where it states multiple times that there's discrepancy between the interview, FBI agent, and witnesses. So in this 113 page document, you're going to find disclaimers like this multiple times throughout the report. This one specifically states that they can't pinpoint the exact time that Dr. King went back to his room, because according to Ms. Davis, he was back in his room by 5:45. However, the Reverend said in the FBI report that Dr. King did not leave the motel and spent most of the day in room 306. Anyways, throughout the entire report, if you sit down and actually read it, they're mentioning that there are discrepancies between stories. They said in the report that there was 2 Black firefighters that were removed from their station and moved to other stations. They couldn't identify who called them and what was the exact reason why they were being moved. Long story short, the other fire stations didn't need the extra hand. So there wasn't real clarity as to why those guys needed to be moved from the fire station that they had FBI agents planned at to watch Dr. King. Another discrepancy that you'll find in the report is the FBI agents can't even figure out who they picked up, when they picked someone up, and who was exactly in each car. And the last thing that I have to mention is the killer says that there was a guy with him. His name is Raul. And yet, till this day, no one knows who that mysterious person is. The reason why they were trying to identify who this guy was is because they also were trying to investigate how did James Earl Ray fund all the things he did leading up to the assassination. Because he escaped from prison, and the only known occupation he did was he worked as a dishwasher for 6 weeks and he made $600. But yet in the year leading up to him escaping and assassinating Martin Luther King Jr., he bought 2 cars, he traveled, went to Mexico multiple times, hung out in bars, stayed in hotel rooms, traveled across the country multiple times, and yet they still couldn't figure out where did he get the money. Now that you're aware of that report, so that creates a suspicion that the things that are being reported by this specific group of people in the FBI, clearly they can't get their story straight. Red flag number one. Red flag number two, it states right here in the secret documents that were released stating that King is a wholehearted Marxist who has studied it, believes in it, and agrees with it. But because he's being a minister of religion, he does not want it to be publicly known. And then it goes on to state that in addition, King has been described within the CPUSA, don't forget that, as a true, genuine Marxist-Leninist from the top of his head to the tip of his toes. So now let's talk about the full circle that ties it all back to why I believe that if you guys watch the Candace Owens special that she did on Kamala Harris, how she unveiled her bloodline to reveal that Kamala Harris is truly not black. And in that series, we all know that Kamala Harris's dad was tied back to Marxism. She alleges that possibly the ties of Kamala Harris also to the government with MLK Ultra. So why do I believe Martin Luther King Jr. is a manufactured character by our dark government? Because in this article, it states that one of the top advisors to King was Stanley Levinson. It acknowledges in this article that Levinson has spent the major part of his life advancing communist interests. It stated that in 1956, he gravitated towards Martin Luther King Jr. He has been dedicated in the support of King as he has been in advancing communist goals. It says right there that Levinson also informed Jones that King is such a slow thinker, he is usually not prepared to make statements without the help from someone. Levinson is actively participating in the planning for King's Washington Spring project. Remember when I told you guys, remember CPUSA? Well, guess who was the financial angel of CPUSA? Stanley Levinson. And you saw that they acknowledged that Levinson was pretty much the person behind Martin Luther King because Martin Luther King Jr. was not that smart. So he played a key role in pretty much curating and creating the entire image of Martin Luther King Jr. So the Democratic Party likes to claim that the Republicans are the communist dictator. Well, this website, which is the Communist Party USA, stated back in 2016, acknowledging that Trump's agenda is threatening to working and poor people in our entire planet because it is based on hatred, racism, bigotry, and looking out for only the 1%. It states in this article that even though they do not endorse specific president candidates, it does say, why does the CPUSA support the Democratic candidates? Guess who CPUSA is allied with? That's right, China. In 2021, this article was published saying international solidarity with the theme of the meeting of Chinese and US Communist Party leaders held on March 10th. You want to guess who funnels billions of dollars to the CCP? That's right, BlackRock. The same BlackRock that has close relationship with the US government. The same BlackRock that is also heavily invested in Hollywood. BlackRock pretty much has their hands in almost everything of this world because of, as of October of last year, $11.5 trillion in asset under management is with BlackRock. The same BlackRock that was donating to Kamala Harris's campaign, and one of their financial advisors is an executive from BlackRock. I'm going to do another video of who Martin Luther King Jr. was, and he's not the person that they're telling us in the history book. He is not the integral guy that we were taught to believe he is. But here's what I'm going to say to the people that are calling me stupid. I believe that FBI, not all agents are informed of the final agenda. And from there, the CIA has a bigger plan that even FBI agents are aware of. In those reports, it clearly shows that even officers within the FBI all don't seem to have the same story. We all know that inner circles exist. So within the FBI, there's inner circles that agents are not involved in. And from the FBI, there's CIA. There's so many other organizations above us that all carry their own agenda. And then above their heads, they have their own agenda. Ultimately lead back to the people in power, which is supposedly our president. But who controls our president? Who knows if it's BlackRock or whatever it is? When we talk about the shadow government, those are the people that actually run the country, not our president. He's simply just a puppet. Even all these organizations within government are all just puppets. We are merely just pawns in a bigger game that we will not know until all of this gets unveiled. So whether Martin Luther King Jr. knew it, he just wasn't aware because Levinson claims that he's a slow thinker. Yes, your statement is kind of true that he was targeted. However, I still stand behind my statement that he was manufactured, and when they said it was trying to neutralize him, that's what the reporting officers thought it was. Because you have to keep up a facade in order for it to be believable so that they don't discover the corruption behind the scenes. So we'll see, even with these unclassified documents being released, will it actually really unveil the entire truth? Because just accept the truth for what it is. We live in a simulated world and we'll never be able to escape it. And the last real question that I have is, how far back do these government plans go in Martin Luther King's life? As we've seen how far the government will go to keep people out so that their agenda is not revealed. So I will stand behind my statement. You can call me stupid all you want, but I still believe that Martin Luther King Jr. was a manufactured leader. This is why our government celebrates him. I know he did the civil rights movement, and I'm not going to take that away from him. But to the people that are awake, we do know that the government creates chaos because they stir up everyone's emotion, because when you're emotional, they can control you better. And we see the sacrifices they're willing to do to push forward an agenda. The American people and anybody that gets in their way, they have zero problems with getting them out of the way. This is why I do stand behind President Trump, because he's here to unveil all of the corruption. Believe me or not, doesn't matter. Time will just reveal itself. Martin Luther King Jr. was a completely made-up character created by the FBI. And I know I'm going to get so much hate for this, but you cannot deny this is not the truth, because this is coming directly from the unclassified files that President Trump released.
Have you ever wondered what it looked like? Yeah, what did it look like when you met somebody who was on a combination cocktail of cremeth, dick, dope, and dog food? I and Van Nguyen decided they would go first. Understand this also before we start, that their daddy, Trump, just made the United States official language as English. But in spite of that, comprehension is the same. Let's get it.
This is directly from the FBI website, that is vault.fbi.gov. This is where the unclassified document on Martin Luther King Jr., his image, and his assassination is uploaded. Just in the first 5 pages, it completely reveals how Martin Luther King Jr. was selected to be the activist leader and how they pushed it through mainstream media news.
Now, that in of itself may be enough for you all to think she's on cremeth. But she proceeds to read the following pages. So just read them, and you'll see where the dick, dope, and dog food kick into this combination.
States right there in the middle. I know it's kind of hard to read because the files are old. It says Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. was the target of an intensive campaign by the FBI to neutralize him as an effective civil rights leader. And it all...
Bella, that's my dog. She's female, and she's not here at the time. She's a couple of states over. Where was I? Oh yeah. So this individual, and I put it here so you can pause and read, literally read Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. was the target. And remember, refer back to the fact that English is now the official language of this country. Hold that and let me finish what she was saying.
And it also says this and other testimony describing this FBI counterintelligence campaign against King reached the public through the news media.
Wait a minute. Let me see if I have this right. This troglodytic, Caucasus Mountain adjacent, piss-colored snow roach had the nerve to put the name of the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. in her mouth after literally reading what this file said and coming to those conclusions.
Hold on. So create a narrative, hire an actor, and then use mainstream media to program it to become the truth. This is just more confirmation that this has been their playbook the entire time. If you're not...
Now listen up, because this message doesn't just go for I am Van Nguyen. This goes for all of you all with your proximity to whiteness who think that that's going to save you. Keep the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s name out your bitch ass mouths.
Let's continue on with this series about MLK Jr. Some of you guys are saying these documents are already released. Yes, I'm aware of that. I'm building up the series so it leads to the final declassified files that Donald Trump signed an executive order for. So on this episode, we are going to expose who MLK Jr. was not. He was definitely not the integral leader that we all thought he was based on the history books that we were taught in school. As I mentioned before, in this secret document, it says King is wholeheartedly a Marxist. I also wanted to state that in this document, one of his advisors was actually homosexual. He decided to let him go because it wasn't worth it. But hold on, the people that support the theory that the Democratic Party are for LGBTQ, isn't that against what you guys stand for? Anyways, moving on. So we all claim that we support presidents and world leaders that don't have affairs. That's why you guys hate Donald Trump, right? Well, I hate to break it to you, in this document, it actually says that King and his associates, as early as January 1964, engaged in another 2-day drunken ex-orgy in Washington, D.C. Many of those present engaged in sexual acts, natural as well as unnatural, and they decided to perform for onlookers. Here's the part that made me wonder, because it doesn't go into deep details. Are we dealing with grape? It says right here, when one of the females shield away from engaging in the unnatural act, King and others of the male present discussed how she was to be taught and initiated. I want to know who that woman is and is she still alive? I would love to get further details of what that specifically means. Moving on, it says throughout the ensuing years and until this date, King has continued to carry on his sexual aberrations secretly while holding himself out in public view as a moral leader of religious conviction. And it even goes on to detail King's mistress. It states in this article that back in 1968, King had an illicit affair with a wife of a prominent dentist in Los Angeles, and they even fathered a child together. And why do they assume this is Martin Luther King Jr.'s daughter? Because the husband was sterile. That's not his only mistress. It states that King is having illicit love affairs with 3 other women. Even identify one of them as Joan Baez, the nationally known folk singer. And the man that exposed all those affairs did it because he was appalled that a man of King's low character can cause so much trouble for both blacks and the government. Then it goes on to say, it is a fact that King not only regularly indulges in adulterous acts, but enjoys the abnormal by engaging in group sexual orgies. And this is the absolute definition of what we believe woke liberal people are. They are just a bunch of fake people that are the saying of, if you stand for nothing, you fall for everything. They'll go on camera and be this morally high person claiming that they don't do wrong. But behind the scenes, they do everything that they claim they don't do. And then when they get caught, instead of taking accountability, they blame. And I will say, characters like this are some of the most insecure people that we have to deal with in society. And instead of working on their insecurity, they project it and create a lot of hate. So it's unfortunate to learn this about MLK Jr. But here's the thing about how I feel about it. He's just a normal person that made a lot of mistakes. And it's very unfortunate that between the government and the history books, they painted him out to be this amazing character of a person. But he is everything that the crazy ass woke liberal people say they hate about Donald Trump. He believes in Marxism, communism. He doesn't believe in being faithful to his wife. Participated in active affairs, and he also did group orgies. And I'm truly curious about that woman that he made sure he initiated. What ended up happening with her. When you talk about this party of love and inclusion, it's really the party of slavery. That is not pertaining towards one color or ethnicity. You can just tell the Democratic Party is all about just enslaving people as a whole. Okay, I have to call out this racist liberal because they're constantly talking about how they're the tolerant one and they're not the racist one. And I'm the party of racism and the people that I'm a part of hate me. Mind you, this was a message I got on Instagram, but I got to show you guys the love letters that I received. This guy, he goes by the name Jimmy Atkins. He decided to send me a friendly private message that says, "You are no doubt the most effing idiot, moronic ass think I've ever seen or heard. Go F back Vietnam, you stupid little B word." And I tell you guys all the time that sometimes I mess up in my grammar because I'm talking too fast, or sometimes I type too fast and I don't pay attention. So I'm usually not one that really corrects people's grammars, but come on now, if you're gonna come on and insult me, can you just at least write a complete sentence that makes sense? And then you guys claim that I associate with a party that is absolutely racist, but the only people that constantly tell me to go back to Vietnam is the left. And why would I go back to Vietnam? My parents are from there and they came here legally and now they're US citizens, but I was actually born here in America. And if you guys are such a tolerant type of group, you should never, ever consider telling anyone, especially people of color, to go back to a country that you don't even know if they were actually born there. And can you imagine if I looked at you and just randomly messaged you and told you to go back to Africa? What would you do? You would scream racism. You'd talk about oppression, but then you turn around and send a complete random stranger a message like this. And the sad part is you're supposed to be a man, but you seem to be acting like the little B word.
This is all I got from this video. And from everything I can see, I don't know where she is from, but some people are just out of this world. I don't know where this one came from. She said that that's why they voted for this man to help expose. What is he exposing? Because so far we haven't seen the Epstein's file, and also he has 30-something felonies. So what are you exposing? One thing with all these Asians that became conservatives, they are always on a higher. I don't know what they used to smoke. You know, they are always high on something. The most high, that is what I call them. When they are so high, they become the most high. When I say the most high, I don't mean the other one. I mean the people that are all high. Because what is she talking about? At this point in time, oh, I'm sure if you go to her page is all blah, 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 blah. I am sure the person that sent that message to her may have had it up to this place and he decided to call her out. I am not in support of bullying, harassment of any type. But, you know, sometimes some people just need to drink some tea, you know? I will never support bullying. You know, majority of those people that come out here to talk about politics probably started talking about politics last year. They don't know anything about politics. If you ask them, did you vote last election? They will tell you no. When they will tell you this is the only election they have voted on, then you start asking some questions. You find out that they are very dumb. Like they are ignorant of even the politics. Like of all people to talk about, it is no other person but MLK Jr. saying that he is it was all created by FBI. Which FBI created his activists? That there is more to him that we know. I do not ever see Asians speak on Asian community, Asian American problems or what is going on in their community. But you definitely will see them back and forth in black business doing what I don't even understand. But they will never, they are always dumb, like deaf and dumb. They are always deaf and dumb. Each time there are political crises that needs everyone's attention, that requires everybody to come out and speak, that requires everybody to talk. It's really crazy, you know? But when it is black issue, you see them jump out. This is not even black issue because this one, she just came out to fabricate her own story, man. I am not in for this woman. Bye for now.